Welcome everyone to another War of the Visions video. We're going to talk about Halloween Lucia today. Even though she's been out for a week and people are already using her, I figure that people might be curious about my opinion on her. So we're going to go over that information in this video, and I'm going to share some info that I've been getting from players that are actually using her, because if you don't know, I did not pull for her, although I was very, very tempted. And if I had done that, then I would have been even more tempted by the Vision card this week. So I'm kind of just playing it cool with my Vizier right now, trying to save for that mysterious fire unit that's not actually coming, probably never. Now, if you've been living under a rock for the last week, then you don't even know who Halloween Lucia is, so I better inform ya. She is a dark casting unit that has high survivability against physical attacks, and there's a number of reasons why, which we'll get into. But before that, I'll just quickly mention who is she strong against and who is she going to be weak against, because that might really affect your decision to pull for her. So she is very strong against physical units, especially missile units, because she has a higher missile resistance. And the reason for this is because she has this 7,500, I said that kind of weird, HP barrier. Now, HP barriers are really cool because you don't actually lose any HP until the barrier has been spent. And the advantage of this compared to a reduced damage barrier is that maybe somebody can't kill you on the first hit of a 3-hit barrier, but they could kill you on the second one because you've taken a half of your health or a quarter of your health, and all of a sudden you're now in one-shot range, whereas your total health pool just increases with an HP barrier. Now, they're still susceptible to barrier breaks, and we'll talk about that later on as well, but that's a big deal. She also has access to a ton of AoE resist. She has protect defense up. You can't break her defense either, and she even has a really powerful counter for some 40% AoE resist for one turn. I mean, come on, that's a lot. So even against non-physical attacks, the AoE resist is really going to come in handy. So we're going to see her really strong in certain matchups like Ice and Lightning right now that have a lot of physical attackers. Now, those elements do have magical attackers, but what we're seeing is mostly physical teams. It means that she's going to be really good against light units that are physical. So for specifically Violet and Locke are the two that you might see. Someone like Lucio, maybe if you're playing at different rank, because you're not really seeing them at high rank, but any unit like that. Now, Elena's another story, and we're going to go over that, but she does have 100% hits. She can hit evasion units, and that is a big boost. Now, there is a weakness to Lucia. She is weak against basically any magic-based attack. So that's an attack that goes against the spirit stat. She doesn't have any spirit. She doesn't have any magic resist. She doesn't have negative magic resist though. So that's, that's something, but basically that's going to negate her barrier. It's going to negate all of her defense, her protect, etc. So she is going to be very susceptible to magic-based attacks, and specifically magic attacks from mages. Now, Elena is another unit that is going to be really effective against her, because even though Elena will die easily to Lucia, she's going to dish out just as much back, and that's a really big thing to consider. I want to thank Isfar for that information. Isfar is in my guild. You may know him from some previous videos where I've mentioned him, or from the live PvP circuit, but there's more information coming from him as well, by the way. But yeah, Elena is actually pretty good against Lucia, but Lucia is also good against Elena. It just depends on how quickly, one of them can kill the other one. Now, another guildmate, Logi, who's actually our guild master, mentioned that Agrius is a really good counter to Lucia. And even though Agrius is a physical attacker, she is a magic tank. She has super high spirit. She's got great resistance for magic. And even though Lucia has some spirit penetration, what's really going to edge this matchup here is that Agrius has her new job level 25 skill that breaks protect and barriers. So basically, two of Lucia's most important survivability pieces, Agrius can strip with a single attack. So if you're looking to get after Lucia, even with a physical ice team, it better be a physical ice team with Agrius in it. All right, with that said, let's talk some pros and cons. I think that we kind of really hit that survivability piece, but just to recap, the barrier is a really big deal. Lucia can seriously take on physical units, and like straight up tank them, and she's a mage unit, so that's a really cool thing. Now she has some other excellent additions to her kit, including the fact that she has some really good range height on her skills. Now her range distance isn't super high on all of her skills, or like some of them are straight line, but the range height on them is mostly very high, so like 2, and that's a big deal. That really helps out on a lot of maps for her to be able to hit a bunch of different people. She also has a really good PvE TMR that increases the amount of damage that people can do, the cap of the damage that they can do. So I love to see that for the PvE players. Now that might not be enough for you to pull her, but for some players it will be. She also has multiple 100% hit attacks and a 30% hit chance increase on her LB. Now she's not so accurate that her LB is going to be a guaranteed hit. It's still got a chance to miss, but having multiple 100% hits is just so important. I'm actually really missing that on my Revelka right now, because I have her white mage sub, so I just have the 100% hit, and it means that in a guild battle, she might actually use all 4 of her skills in one round, and then all of a sudden, or just, even if she uses 3, then you're out for the next fight. So I think that's a really big deal, especially because I don't know if I mentioned that Lucia is a 70 cost, and you're going to be using her in limited guild battle if you are pulling for her. So being able to take on those evasion walls is a really big deal and a major pro for her. Now, she also has an extra attack that's granted by her LB, and that extra attack, it's what we've seen with Noctis and with Lightning and with Astrius, and it basically means that she can go through Courage and Re-Raise. Now, another banger point from Isvar, that when you're using your limit burst with Lucia against evasion, it might not hit, especially these really high tier light walls, and that means that you're not getting your extra attack, and you're not going to be able to hit through Locke's Re-Raise or Elena's Courage, but she still has the 100% hits, and that's still really good. The other cool thing about this extra attack is that Lucia has this big AoE, and when you use this big AoE, everybody that gets hit by it gets hit by the extra attack. It also, depending on the number of people killed, will also restore 200 CP per that, or CT, sorry, per the unit killed. So she could hit a bunch of people, hit them all with the extra attack, and then immediately go again, or go very quickly based on how successful that attack is. So it's pretty neat. She has potential to really snowball a team if she gets these things going for her. Now I'm going to talk about the cons, but before I do that, I just have to ask, if you've made it this far in the video, consider liking the video, because it helps me out, it helps the channel, the engagement for the video, and I appreciate it, so thank you. All right, so the cons. I would say that cast times are straight up a con these days, especially when you don't have a lot of cast time reduction available to you. So that's straight up, it makes a difference, and she's not the fastest unit in the world either. She does have innate spirit penetration, but she has only magic attacks and no magic attack penetration. So that is against a true magic tank, that will actually be a bit of a problem. But what I've been told by people in my guild is that Lucia is hitting for more damage than you expect her to based on that. And I think part of that is that gone are the days where you can easily stack a lot of magic resistance and slash resistance, and now you're considering covering for a lot of different things. Mostly slash is still the safest bet, but it basically means that there's still lots of targets available for her. And then the final thing is that I already mentioned it, but she basically has no protection against magic based attacks. So no spirit, no magic barrier or anything like that. And it just means that she is weak to magic, and there is quite a bit of magic based attack in the game. I wasn't able to do my full usual breakdown stuff for this video, but I did make a comparison graphic that we can look at here. So I'm comparing her to Dark Fina and Summer El Sorel, and I picked Summer El Sorel because this is our other tanky physical, against physical damage mage. So I thought that was kind of interesting. They are both book users as well, and basically what I can take away from this is that, man, Lucia looks really good for a 70 cost when she's coming up against a 100 cost and a 90 cost on this chart. It really is, apparent. The fact that her magic is not that much lower than Elserel's, but she has multiple ways to boost it. The fact that her HP is up in that tanky zone. The biggest weakness I would say that I see here is, well, two things, her AP and her accuracy, but otherwise the rest of her, stats are decent, and I really like that missile resistance. It's really solid. So I think Lucia for a 70 cost unit is total bang for your buck. It's a big deal. All right, before we wrap up and get to the verdict, I just want to ask if I missed anything, because there's plenty of Lucia players out there that already pulled for her and will know her better than I do as somebody that did not pull for her. I've just played against her a few times, and I've certainly seen that she can be pretty powerful. So, let me know in the comments, and if you're watching this video, go and check out the comments, because you'll see all these awesome tips and advice that people have. Some people are going to advise that you don't pull for her. Some people will advise that you do. And if you want to know what my opinion is, I think that this is a pretty safe unit to pick up, and it's a very fair unit. She's got a very clear defined weakness, but she's just going to be so effective in any cost limited content that I think the only reason you don't pull for her is if you have something else as your goal, or you're just super weak in dark, and I guess the third reason would be if you're totally spent after Tactics and Final Fantasy 13, that would be acceptable as well. So otherwise, I think it's a pretty great unit for a lot of people to pull, to be happy with, and to get a lot of use out of. But also, she will come back, and you'll be able to pull her in the future. But it's usually the best time to do it the first time. You never know what kind of deal you're going to get in the future. So that's just something to consider going forward. All right, thank you so much for watching, everybody. That was it, or that is it for this video, right? Yeah, no, that's it. That's all I'm going to say, but I am going to be back with another video before you know it. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. I mean, I don't know. The last time I said I was going to be back with a video, 12 days later, there's the video. So no, I'm just kidding. I do plan on having another video come out in the next few days. If there's any video that you specifically want to see, let me know. Otherwise, I'll probably just do a similar Chunak should you pull video, just to have it up there so people can check it out, in the future. If they off-banner Chunak and they're like, oh, what the heck, this guy, what does Mysidia think? I better go find out. All right, bye.